you're starting to see, and I talked about this. I told LSU fans this. We shouldn't have been in that game. We should have beat the crap out of them. It's an NFL front seven. Kyle Canard has transferred. He took the risk reward that guys want to take by jumping in the SEC, and it's paid off immensely for that young man. Like, he went from a guy who he might be a fourth, fifth round pick and, whatever, to he legitimately might be a second round pick, and the difference in money is ridiculous. You have a guy on the other edge in Dylan Stewart who they're already
Maybe
offering
first round
NIL and
pick.
building. I mean, Dylan Stewart's a 1-1 type of player when he can come out. That's what he is, depending on need. You obviously have a great interior, what they do there. You've got nice pieces. If you don't really pay attention, South Carolina constantly has NFL corners. Like, go and look at how many corners they have. They've constantly guys that just, oh yeah, that's a pretty good player, and then he's somewhere and he's in the NFL and as a second round pick. You also have seen the biggest part of this, and look, we had him on the show back in
our
the
Panthers
spring.
fan? Our Panthers fans not commenting.
Yeah, J.C. Horn, dude.
J.C.
Where's
Horn.
Gavin? Where's Gavin, our Panthers fan?
J.C. Horn's a good one. One thing that I think was the biggest growth, and could they make the jump, was you've seen, and because people just get so out on team. Week 3, where they're terrible. No, teams are allowed to evolve. Lenoris Sellers' growth this season from straight athlete to quarterback, it has been a tremendous amount of their growth as an offense. Rocket Sanders, I mean, Ralph talked about this, and if Rocket Sanders can capture what he had 2 years ago in Fayetteville, he's going to help out immensely. They've got that. They've got some young receivers. Nick Harbor has learned to catch the football. That's awesome. I mean, in certain things, they really have grown, and I think it's a great snapshot of, like, they're playing their best football at the right time. And they suffered, they're you can play the if-then game all you want. If 6 plays go either way, they could be a one-loss team. I mean, they could be 9-1. So to me, I love what South Carolina has done. It shows you that you can't judge a team based off of what they do through 4 weeks. You need the whole data point. Shane Beamer, to me, and look, we had him on the show, and I wonder if he would agree with this. He has grown as a coach. I feel like he has matured as a coach as well. So I love what Shane Beamer and South Carolina have done. I think they're one of the hottest teams in college football right now. I think that they have a lot going for them. They've got recruiting momentum. They've got all certain types of things that when you look about what you want, they are a program that is trending in the right direction within the SEC. And how competitive this conference is now, I think that's something you want to take away. And so when Beamer goes into, Holmes this, around signing day to make sure that he's good on commitments, when he calls and they get on the phone with, transfer guys in the 48-hour window you have to get them to commit, that's what you can say. Hey, it's not about what we can be. We're getting there, and we want you to come along for the ride. And now you've got data points, and I love what South Carolina has done. It's one of my favorite programs to watch this year. I love Shane Beamer, ultimate round of respect for him, and they're fun to watch. They play, Beamer talked about this in his postgame presser. Cole Kublik does kind of a rundown of like different teams, and I thought this was unique. He said South Carolina's playing a brand of football. They've got great talent individually, but like we talked about Florida for one game last weekend, they've started playing cohesive together and using that together. And I think that is massive in terms of where they want to go. So I'll let either one of you take it. Beamer ball's rolling. South Carolina's very good. It'll be interesting to see what kind of bowl game they end up in, because I mean, this is a team who could win 10 games this year. I mean, they very well could win 10 games, go 9-3, win a bowl game, and be 10-3. Now, I mean, they got to play Clemson. That's going to be a tough game. I believe that game's in Clemson, but it's not. It's
a
not
12 o'clock kickoff in Clemson.
Yeah, last time they did that, they won. So, So I don't know. Will, I'll let you have this one first. What are your thoughts on South Carolina and just the growth that we've seen them over the past month? I mean, they've been just about as good as you can be.
I think if they had Lenoris Sellers with another year of development on this year's team, they'd be a playoff team, hands down. Because you saw early in the year that LSU game, that Alabama game.
Remember, he got hurt in that game too. So he
got hurt, and he was really struggling at that part of the year to consistently hit on his passes.
Yeah.
In these last couple of weeks, he's really been hitting on them, and they've been nearly unstoppable offensively between his legs, Rocket Sanders, and him being able to throw the ball. You talked about Nick Carver stepping up, all those receivers stepping up and catching the ball. I mean, they're a force to be reckoned with. I wouldn't want to see them coming up on the schedule. They're hot. And before the season, we laughed at people that said Beamer would be fired just because some people don't understand the landscape and understand the situations in different programs.
Yeah.
But regardless, they have far exceeded expectations this season. I mean, even if say Saturday they couldn't have orchestrated that last minute drive to beat Missouri, if they maybe would have dropped that game to Vanderbilt, which South Carolina teams in the past have dropped games like that off of big wins.
Mm-hmm.
Seen it a lot the last 10, 15 years from South Carolina. They didn't. They still would have passed nearly anybody's expectations of them this year. They have been really, really good, and I'm really interested to see, like you said, what bowl game they get to, and then kind of what that roster looks like, and can they reload and do it again next year?
Yeah, I mean, you've got Lenora Sellers, and you talked about having a quarterback, Ralph. Like DJ Lagway is going to be that beacon of light for anybody who wants to come play at Florida. Lenora Sellers and Dylan Stewart. Like you've got legit quarterback number one on your team, and you've got a premier edge rusher. Like you've got the framework. So, Ralph, what's your opinion? 5.5, by the way, preseason win total for the Gamecocks. So
yeah, I mean, you look at what they've done recently. I mean, they took that loss to Alabama, and then a game where you can play the if factor. Bryce is if a certain thing goes their way, they probably win that game. But what Beamer's doing there at South Carolina right now is massive. This year was really the year that needed to take a step forward, because we saw a great year. 2021 was the best year, or 2022 was the year they
beat Tennessee and Clemson.
Yeah, back to back. We thought the jump was going to come after that year, and the following year their offense line was terrible. People blame Spencer Rattler, which you come to the conclusion that Rattler was not the problem. It was really just he had no O-line, no help. And then you bring in, Lenore Sellers, you meant the starter quarterback, you bring in Rocket Sanders, Kyle Canard, Dylan Stewart's a true freshman. They've signed a 5-star the last 2 years, and being Nick Harvard 2 years ago, and now it's Dylan Stewart. This team's going in the right direction, just like I said with Florida earlier. Billy Everett's done a great job there. Beamer's doing a really good job in South Carolina, and this is the guy that you can get behind. You can stand. He's a likable guy. He's a friend of the program. Maxwell said it earlier. That's why we like him as much. Honestly, we would have been like the same guy who said that he was going to get fired at the beginning of the year.
Dr. Bob says, and Bright got Shane Beamer on the show. So as South Carolina rises, so does the Crowder Booth.
Shane Beamer is the guy that if he's the coach of your team, you love him. If he's not, you hate him.
You hate him because
but South Carolina needs that. Like that, Steve Spurrier-esque. I'm not saying he's Steve Spurrier, but that's how Spurrier was viewed.
He kind of reminds me of Will Muschamp in ways of how he coaches. In ways how he coaches. He's very fired up on the sideline. But
South Carolina fan just dipped out of this clip right here because
I'm talking about in his intensity, not his coaching ways. He's not. He tries to be. He works really well with his players. You see a lot of offseason film of him. They have like giant team hide and seek throughout the facilities. They do these funny FaceTime calls with their players. He does a great job of working with his team. The players fully are in support of him. You see down the field and how hard they work. A game against Missouri, which few plays almost didn't go their way and almost lost the game. They fought to the end. Rocket Sanders obviously taking that 25-yard run to the end zone where he just ran over 2 people in Missouri, hit the weight room guys. But look, Beamer, this is going to be a good team next year and a good team going forward.
I like him. I like Shane Beamer. And I think, like you said, Will, in terms of expectations, I was talking with someone at SEC Media. They said it would have to be like 2-10, 3-9 for them to fire him. You just have to understand the landscape and the expectations and who are you going to get that's going to inject energy into the program like he has.